the Art and Industry of Business and Living podcast, discussing conscious choices around business, money, life and living, and creating a greater future for you and the planet. Hi everybody, welcome to the Art and Industry of Business and Living. You are with Simone Milasas, your host. And I have here today a guest that I have had previously, Miss Rebecca Hulse. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
And I love that this is actually a podcast and you get to hear our voices because we're doing this over Zoom. And I went, where's your video? And Rebecca goes, are we doing video? And I went, no, not like this. We're like casual.
We're having a casual Friday moment.
Yeah, we're having a casual Friday moment. Exactly. Everyone keeps asking me to do videos and I'm like, all right, tomorrow I have a call. I'll do all these videos after that when I'm more face ready.
Yes, that's the thing. Face ready.
It is face ready. Yeah. And I did a Zoom yesterday and I had to get up and do something. And I was like, oh, look, see, you can see I have gym gear underneath. I have good intentions to work out after this. So I love the way, it's so funny though, because it is a way that we can conduct and construct business now that you never used to be able to do before. It's like you can do it from the comfort of your bed, your couch, the amount of times I'd sit at my kitchen bench and I go to do one thing and then 4 hours later, I'm still sitting at the kitchen bench going, God, this is uncomfortable. And I'm like, Simone, move, go somewhere else. You're going to keep working here,
Or I always fall into the habit of sitting in my grandpa chair. Like it's really not a pretty piece of furniture, but it's so comfortable and I just love being on it. But of course, if you need to be face ready, the grandpa chair doesn't really quite fit in the picture.
So what I've noticed, over the many years I've been alive and working in different industries and for different businesses is that a lot of things have changed. One of the things that has changed is in Access, we're organising about an every 3-4 week meetup, and we were calling it the water cooler meetup because we don't function in an office. We're all over the world. It's like someone's always awake, someone's always creating. You know what it's like when you live in down under, like you're in New Zealand, I'm in Australia. You wake up and Europe and America are awake going, are you awake? Are you awake? Are you awake? Like they might not be pinging you, but what they're energetically, they're like, you up yet? You up? And I'm like, let me get a coffee. Hang on a second, And times have changed. And like we just spoke about doing the Zooms, etc. And how, I remember old school when I used to have, a calendar and I would write everything down on my calendar for, my diary. And in Australia, we call it a diary, which I know in America is more like the dear diary, he looked at me today. And that's not what we're talking about. It's like, I remember I used to have that and a phone just made phone calls, and now it's like, if I don't have my phone, I literally don't know what I've got on that day. Like I look at my phone the night before to see if I should set an alarm, what time it should be, and what's on, and what else can I, do or squeeze in. And that's how I sort of prepare. My phone is what I would say my Bible. So times have changed. And what I want to bring in here, and I want to talk to you about the creation of all of this is, I'm showing you, but you know what it is. And I'm showing it to the listeners, but they can't see it. But you know what? There'll be photos up there. And if you go to my Instagram, we'll have a photo of me with it and Rebecca and Joy Business Instagram, is the 2020 Ease, Joy and Glory Business Planner. Yes, we wanted to let you guys know that this exists and you can buy on Amazon. So go get it now because, of course, we would like to sell, hundreds of thousands of these, and the sales are doing really, really well. But what I'm so proud of is that it's been created, and I wanted to talk to you, Rebecca, because you were the lead person in creating how this looks and this showing up in the world, that it actualized. So I wanted to talk to you about the creation of that and some things that you've come across, starting with what was your point of view, or did you have a point of view with the fact that we are creating something that is, I'm going to say old school. It's paper. It's paper. It's a booklet. You write in it. You need a pen,
Yes, you have to own a pen. Well, I think for me, the joy in creating this was actually uncreating. For me, I love taking something that is traditional business, something that is old school. And I guess the trendy word to use would be to disrupt the industry. And for
I love
me,
that. Disrupt the industry.
exactly. So for me, I started asking people questions going like, hey, what do you love about your planner? What do you hate about your planner? Do you even use your planner after January? Because I know
Okay,
so
let's go
many.
back a second.
Yes.
Because you created this one 2020, but you also created it in 2019.
Yes.
Hence
So this
why
is not
you
the
can ask
first
people
rodeo.
questions. Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about that creation then, because that's the construction of it in an earlier phase.
Yes. So before we even looked at this, we started going, Joy of Business has so many great ways for doing organization in a way that works for non-organized people. Simone and I are actually two very organized people, but we know a lot of wonderful entrepreneurs that do not like organization at all. And so we wanted to create something that could work for you depending if you're super organized or not organized. And one of the things that we both found was that in most traditional calendars, your day starts at the earliest 9 a.m. or maybe 8 a.m. And for Simone and I, our day pretty much starts at 5 or 6.
Mm.
And so we
You've got a
wanted to,
lull in the early afternoon when America
exactly.
and Europe America's going to sleep and Europe's not quite up yet. You're like, now's my me time. Yeah.
Exactly. So we wanted to create something that didn't have a projection or a point of view about when you should work. If you're up at 3 a.m., if that's your best time, that's when you should be creating. If your best time is 11 p.m. at night, that's when you should be allowed to have whatever you want on your calendar. So we wanted to give it more flexibility, give it a place where you could feel like you were owning it instead of it was owning you.
I love that. So you created the second one, and it is quite different. I mean, it's got a similar vibe, obviously the same sort of, I guess, target, but it's quite different. So tell me now. Let's talk about how you outcreated that first time.
Yes. Well, and you think you have enough time, but as always, it does always feel like a bit of a rush towards the end. And we had to sacrifice some design aspects in the first version. So people that bought the first one will be happy to know this one is lighter.
Yes.
It will stay open flat on a page because it has wire binding. And it will be more secure because it has a thick, hard, matte red cover on it. It is not going to look, like your most well-worn favorite book from 10 years ago in 6 months' time. It's going to look a lot more stable and presentable. And then that's just in the design of the physical product. We also wanted to contribute more in different ways to your life and your business, like with your finances. Joy of Business has been developing a lot more different resources that you can use in your finances lately. And so we wanted to encourage you at the end of each month to know exactly what it is that you earned, that you spent, what goes in your honoring account. You can even put it in your Joy of Taxes account if you want to have a little bit of more joy in that area of your life.
So Joy of Taxes is something that we created, and I literally have it on my banking. Like I'm in private banking in Westpac, and he's like, you call it Joy of Taxes. I think that's hilarious. And I'm like, yeah, it's my Joy of Taxes account. So I put, a certain amount of money away for everything that I'm earning into my Joy of Taxes, because so many people have a point of view about paying taxes. And if you didn't have a point of view about paying taxes, then you actually can have way more awareness, and you can ask more questions, and you can get creative. And that's not just with taxes, that's with everything. Every single time you have a point of view about something, you don't allow yourself to have the awareness of what other possibilities are available. So, when we talk about this, I mean, in the Business Done Different classes that, all the Joy Business facilitators do around the world, that's one of the topics that we cover. And it's so interesting how many people have such a strong point of view about not wanting to pay for taxes that they will not create. It's like, what if your worst problem is that you owe $1 million in taxes? And it's like, okay, if you owe $1 million in taxes, then you've earned a shitload of money. And then you start getting creative. Now you can have consults on, or come up with some investments, or what's your cash flow, so that you could actually, create something different showing up with your money instead of paying the taxes. What can be a tax deduction? It's like you start to go into question. So we did want to sort of put these things like in your face, and so that you can start to play with these tools as well, because Joy Business is about embracing and engaging with all aspects of business, and not shoving anything outside of your awareness, and actually having the clarity so that you can choose what's going to create something greater next. So, and I love, I mean, the Business Done Different classes totally match this planner as well. It's like, it's wonderful.
Yes. And you'll actually find a few more cameos of different Business Done Different tools that were taken from the manuals into there. So if you've been to one of those classes, you'll be able to see a few reminders and sneak peeks. And if you haven't been to one yet, this planner is just a little taste of what's possible in those amazing 3-day masterclasses too.
So one of the things that I wanted to also ask you about, because this shows up a lot in business, is expense is not spared here. Like, I'm looking at the planner and it's beautiful. It's like,
it's color.
The colors throughout it, which is like, you know, printing in color is always, you know, we didn't just do black and white or grays, you know, like, and also the tabs here. So for each month, etc. Like, we went to get a quote here in Australia to get it printed, and the guy was like, "Oh my God, this is it's like a work of art." So the way it's been put together. So can you talk a little bit about, because I see in businesses people choose to do this, like, oh, we must cut down the cost to create a product that is lesser than, rather than creating something that is more elegant and more beautiful. And it's funny, as I say this, I'm looking around my office. And I'll do a little video and put it on my Instagram from my office, because my office is stunning. It's beautiful. There is no expense spared. It's not functioning from lack or scarcity. It's like, I have really beautiful things in here. So, and
how do you feel when you're creating in that space too?
Oh my God, wonderful. I mean, Steve Bowman, who's been on this podcast quite a few times, when him and Chichisa came up to stay one night, you know, from Melbourne, and Steve kept coming in and sitting down in the office going, I just love this office. I just love the feel of it. And I'm like, I know, it's wonderful being in here, except in the middle of Queensland summer, because I'm getting air conditioning. It's getting a little hot in here. So
nice.
Yeah. So can you talk about that, how it's like the choices that you make based on, you could have done something that was, you know, flimsy and costless.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I was really looking at with this is longevity. You know, something that is going to last a whole year of love and use. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, if you don't have a product that's going to keep up with you, you won't use it. It's like having a phone, or like, it's so frustrating when you have a phone or a computer that starts to slow down after a while. Right. All the different products in your life should be the same way. And so, you know, people kept telling us, like, no, if you cut out the tabs, it will be cheaper. If you go for a less nice color wiring, it will be cheaper. If you go for a thinner cover, it will be cheaper. And I just didn't want to put a shitty product out in the world.
Well, also what I'm hearing with that too, it's like, you've got to choose what matches the energy of what you are choosing, and also matches the energy of what you are asking for to show up. Because, like, how many times do we ask for more money? We ask for our business to expand. We ask for more clients. We ask for, you know, these things to show up. And then you, not even cognitively, but you have this point of view and you go, oh, I can't afford that, or I'm too busy to do this, and then you've just negated what it is that you're asking for to show up.
So what, compromising your vision.
Yeah. So everywhere that you're compromising what you're asking for and choosing less than, rather than always choosing greater, where you destroy and uncreate it, times it goes million, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot on and shorts, boys and beyonds.
I also just want to say too, a part of the not compromising on the vision was working with a really phenomenal graphic designer, Minaj, who lives in India, and he had so many great questions to ask me for this too. Like, he really did offer us the best possible product that he could. And the wonderful man this year was working on 5 versions of this, not just one, because he had to make every single one for the languages that we have this planner in this year as well. So he did 5 times the work this year that he did last year. And again, like, he has just gone above and beyond in making sure that you feel joyful every single day that you look at this. He has not tried to be cheap or to do everything that we did last year. You will find some similarities, but not everything is the same, which I just love.
And what languages do we have it in now?
We have French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, and English.
That is so cool.
It is.
That is awesome. How does it get any better than this? And I love, and I just want to read out the warning that's on the front page and get you to talk about that as well. So it says, warning, this is not for normal people. Seriously, are you done trying to be normal, creating business by industry standard, making just the right amount of money, judging yourself, your business, and your money? We are done. We are definitely different and proud of it. Bring it on. Here's our personal challenge. And this is what I'd love you to talk about too, give some information on this. So if you go out there onto Amazon and buy the Joy of Business Planner, and it's like, this is our personal challenge. What if you could be a part of the top 1% in the world and still be you and invite people, business, and the world to different possibilities? Signing off from the Joy of Business gaggle. So can we talk about that personal challenge, that top 1%? I think I've spoken about it in a podcast before, but what we started looking at is
I think I interviewed you in a podcast about it.
Did you? Okay, so you can go find that in my
we'll link it below.
On sure SimoneMilasas.com, /podcast. You can find them there in the history. And well, just briefly, it's like one of the things that we looked at was, when I looked at this, I went, oh, top 1%, that must be millions, even like in the billions. To be earning the top 1% in the world, it must be a hell of a lot of money. And surprise, surprise, how much is it in New Zealand, Rebecca?
About 500,000 New Zealand dollars.
And that's it.
That's it.
It's like in Australia, I think it's like 450,000 Australian dollars. In America, wasn't it like 250,000 US?
250,000 US dollars.
Yeah. And if you earn over that amount of money, then you are currently in the top 1%. So what we ask is, jump on Google and Google whatever country you're in. It's like, what's the top, how much money do you have to earn to be in the top 1% of your country? And what if that for 2020 was what you asked for? What if that was your own personal challenge to yourself, that you created more money than anyone else and allowed yourself to be in the top 1%? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I just thought of something. What if we also put a challenge out there if you're already currently in the top 1%?
Yes.
What if you became in the top, and I have no idea what this is, the 0.5%?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I really want to say here too, it's not just about making money. Okay. Because for me, it's like, and if you've listened to my podcast, read any of my books, etc., you'll know what I'm talking about here is, I've never really created just for money. I've created so that something greater can show up in the world and show up for me. And I've definitely been through, these different phases of, I don't need money, I'm fine without money. And then number 2 was like, okay, so maybe I can receive money, but I'll do good things with it, which meant I never actually received it. All I did was give it away. And then finally, I went to what I call phase 3 of just going, what if I just made money and enjoyed it and had it and have it and do whatever the hell I want with it? And what I find now, it's like, the more money you can create, it's like the more choice you have and the more you can have that generosity of spirit with the world and also create a change in the world. And that's what I'm asking for. So let's do something here. It's like, if you're listening to this and everywhere that you've decided that money is terrible, awful, mean, vicious, and it's not what you should have, and yet secretly you would like to have it, and you've just like completely and utterly pushed it out of your world and avoided it and done everything you can to never, ever, 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 ever have it show up in your life, can we destroy and uncreate everything that is, times it goes on, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. It's like, what if 2020 was the time to get yourself that Joy Business Planner? And it's like, start, doing and being business different. And you don't have to own a business to get this. This is like a, totally, I want to say motivational, even though I hate that word, being motivated. But, maybe it's inspiring to you. I mean, if I just open up any page here, and it's like, this is, Tuesday, January the 7th. It says, if you don't create your reality, this will, say it again, Simone. If you don't create your reality, this reality will create for you. And that is something that I see occurs all the time, because you know what? You have to be the one that's choosing. If you are the one that's choosing, it's like, then things open up for you. If you are always being the one that is being chosen, then you can only ever create based on what that person or that business's reality is, rather than going beyond it. And for me, and I know for you as well, Rebecca, it's like we're asking for, what can we create beyond this reality? What can we actualize beyond this reality in 2020? And everything at that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And I love the way you've got a question for each day. And then, you know, in the notes section where you can also write your ideas, and there's, you know, lots of space there for you to write appointments, etc. And then on that day where it says, if you don't create your reality, this reality will create for you, then it says, bring on the chaos.
Yes, we want to greet you with a different kind of thing each day. Like it might remind you that you've got this, or that the universe has your back, or it may even tell you that you have a nice butt.
Exactly.
So watch out for that one.
That was one that you actually did have in 2019 and in 2020.
It's making a comeback.
It might even travel forth into the 2021. So, and then there's, you know, reminders in here too about, like, you know, taking care of yourself today. I mean, I was doing a session yesterday and I was talking to someone in, you know, one of the tools that we talk about in Access is 1 hour a day and 1 day a week. What if you did something that was just for you, that was nurturing for you? And it could be anything. It might be, you might like cooking, or it might be, you know, having a bath or watching Netflix or going for a walk or anything. You know, it's your choice. But what if you could do and be something 1 hour a day and 1 day a week that was to nurture you? Because if you make you the source of the creation, like if you realize that you are your own source of creation, every single choice that you make creates something different showing up. Instead of waiting for someone or something else, it's like, it's your choice. You get to choose. So,
and that you're valuable.
Yeah.
You're worth your own time.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. And acknowledging that. Yeah. Cool. So anything else about this 2020 planner that we need to tell people?
That I hate to say it, but we do only have limited copies. Damn. We're not going to be doing millions and millions of print runs. This is an exclusive boutique product.
So where do they go to get it?
accessjoyofbusiness.com/2020 planner.
Okay. So I've been sending people to Amazon. Is that not correct?
It is on Amazon too, but if you just don't want to search through quite a few different planners, you can go directly to the Joy of Business shop, and you don't even have to go through Amazon.
Once more, accessjoyofbusiness.com/2020
planner.
Okay, cool. And I love this. I just opened up in October and it says, if you choose for you, you start to show others that they can choose for them.
That is so true.
It is so true. Now it's just making me want to go somewhere else though.
You're going to give away the whole deal.
No. And it's like, well, November, I love it. What if you did business for the fun of it? I was having a conversation with someone last night and they were like, what's the end game? What's this? You know? And I was like, there is no end game. It's like, it's consciousness. It's like, what if the purpose of life was to have fun? It's like, are you having any? And it's like, and what we look at in Joy of Business and with the Joy of Business gaggle is that it's like, you know, what if the purpose of life was to have fun? And what if the purpose of your business was to have fun and make money while you're doing it?
Exactly.
And change the world. That's what I'm here for.
Me too.
Yes.
Do more of it.
How does it get any better than this? So please go check out accessjoybusiness.com as well. I mean, you know, get yourself the planner, accessjoybusiness.com/2020 planner. And also find a Joy Business facilitator around you somewhere and get your butt to a Joy Business class. These classes are off the charts. I actually have one coming up in Hamburg, Germany. So if you fancy going to Hamburg, Germany,
I'll be there. First time. I'm so excited.
Me too. In January, from the 17th to the 19th of January. And then I've actually got one happening the next month in Melbourne as well. And that one will be live streamed. So you can either come to Melbourne, Australia. It will
the best city in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yes. And or it'll be live streamed, so you can join that anywhere you desire. And that's from the 21st to the 23rd of February. And There's lots of Joy Business facilitators around the world that have some, you know, amazing classes up there. They've also got the Getting Out of Debt Joyfully classes, the 2.5-day classes with that. There's like so much available.
Yes.
So, you know, I say that, and I don't want to say that lightly either, because there really is so much available. It's like, if you're listening to this and you've decided that there's not so much available, will you destroy and uncreate that point of view and start to recognize that, as I said before, that if you are willing to get over any point of view that you have, then everything becomes available. So everything
Let's have more of that.
Yeah. Everything of that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pop and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So Miss Rebecca Hulse, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for letting me create cool things. Like, you asked me what I wanted my job to be in Joy Business. And I literally said to you, I want to make cool stuff.
Yeah.
And this is one of my cool things. Yeah. So thank you for allowing me to and encouraging me to create this in the world.
Well, it's interesting too, because that's, one of your capacities is to create things like that. And it's like one of your capacities is to create things like that. And then we go, okay, now how are we going to get it out there?
Yes.
And it's like, because you love starting stuff and creating and being that like, ooh, okay, this is like ground up. And it's like, so how do we use that to our advantage?
And then we get me help. But that's a topic for another podcast.
Yes. Cool. Awesome. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you very, very soon.
See you soon. And thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.